Luyu, Rex, Pomray, Naomi, Fasciana, Babbler, gray eyes, fill my eyes. Assemble. When the clock slips past polite, that's when the room starts telling the truth. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment, heads bow low while the room grows intelligent. Every pause got a pulse, every stare got a meaning. Like the dark learned to speak and the wall started leaning. Then it slips after midnight, nice manners go missing. Thoughts get taller, words cut closer, nobody's just listening. Twisted Tuesdays bend the frame till the clean lines skew, where the truth walks in slow, wearing somebody else's shoes. And the words don't sit, they move. Gotta wait in the chest, gotta bend in the groove. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain, like you dragged in one version, you won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown and the soft don't dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Oh, late night poets, something more. Wednesday splits parts in the part synced on the middle, half grace, half damage, all nerve in the signal. Then the art is seduction, glides in thin-skinned, all silk on the tongue with a knife tucked in it. And not crafting, sullen art, we make it articulate through the hush of heart spine, make the whole room sit with it. Then break on through when the polished front blurs, when the mask can't hold and the real thing stirs. Fill my eyes with poetry, let it hit full force. No safe little lines, no watered down source. Bad company laughs with its tide pulled loose in rhythm and rhyme, puts a pulse in the bruise. Every name on the bill feels less like a name, more like doors in a hall where the air still changes. You don't come here to fade, play me to stay numb. You come here to hear what you might become. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown and the soft don't dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Some come shattered, some come dressed clean. Some say a little and still split the scene. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in quiet and take the room higher. That's the thing, the same background sound. This is breath with the backbone, it with the crown. This is late souls, live mics, eyes held open. A room full of hearts, refusing to coast into silence. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown and the soft don't dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Oh, late night poets. When the clock slips past polite, we tell the truth. LNP. I love you, Quicken.
Hello world, happy Monday. You're listening to The Garden of Enlightenment with Luyu, WildDove. Gray Eye Smith, Bill My Eyes, and Lawrence Devon. Um, so tonight's show is based on front page picks as well as some open poetry. The show is brought to you by a group on allpoetry.com called Late Night Poets, and we have anthologies available on amazon.com. So feel free to check those out and help support these shows. That said, I'd like to say hello to Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence.
Good evening, Gray. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. And how are you?
Well, it got to be 100 degrees on the deck today, but it's cool now.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me about it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Other than that, how are you doing? A little trouble getting the address, huh?
Yeah, yeah. But no, I'm good, thank you. Nothing. We had you had twice our temperature, so I think we're winning that one. It's too early to be that hot.
Especially when it was frost advisory
Summer
3
hasn't even
days
come
ago.
close to. Really? Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's craziness.
Yeah, Mother Nature can be fickle, that's for sure. Well, welcome to the show, Lawrence.
Thank you.
I'm going to post the first
Do we have
link.
Luyu with us tonight?
She's going to be here, she said, but I'm not too sure exactly when.
Cool.
But I posted the first link to the group, if you wouldn't mind giving that a read for us, Lawrence.
All right. Let me just get over there real quick. We'll do that very thing. All right. Oops. Sorry. Hit the wrong link. What is going on, my lord? Oh, I thought I was in the right room. Give me just a second here. This is ridiculous. Come on. Jesus. Why am I having such trouble? I'm sorry. You're going to have to excuse me. I seem to have lost the room. I'm sure I'll find it again, but it's giving me a heartache. All right. I think I know where I am. Jesus. All right. Is the first one by James Joseph John? Hello?
Yes, it sure is.
All right. Thank you. My computer is awful funny right now. It's called The Laundry Room. Such a sweet smell. Fabric softener perfume fills the room. Washers and dryers moving and spinning. A concert sound with buttons and belts banging. Joan cleans her intimates. Edna washes her baby's clothes. Franklin waits for an available machine. The weekend is standing room only. Use condoms in the corner. Dirty thongs on the windowsill. So many secrets within the lint filter. End poem.
Fantastic job of reading that, Lawrence. It's I like it. It's atmospheric, it's engaging, it's concise. It says so much about the laundromat that we don't want to know or really think about while we're there. And you know, the laundromats are a place on their own, really. They wash away all the dirt from everybody's laundry, and how many ghosts can you have in one place, really? So I thought it was fascinating. And what did you think, Lauren?
Well, I like the wry tone in the last line. So many secrets within the lint filter. And it's true, the things we normally don't bring out into the open need to come out in the open at the laundromat. And generally, if you don't have anything too embarrassing in there, it's not an issue. You don't stare at your neighbor's laundry. But sometimes you see some weird stuff. I like the tone in this. It was well done.
Thank you so much, Warren. Great read and great comment. Yeah, great read, great comment. And Luyu was here, and now she's gone again, so I think she's going to try and call back. She must be having some technical difficulties. And I noticed Phil isn't in the room, but she's here. Shame on you, Phil. We need commenters, Phil, my eyes. Anyway, I'm going to post the next link.
That's not necessarily your favorite thing.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. All right, so I've got the next link up. And this one is called Brazos River Bottom by Joe Braz. If Escher set an echo, the image of this sound, pale teal like ice cream with a mild flavor, did Hockney include the splash sounds of a diver slicing into the cool surface of a backyard swimming pool? Dally, melting time in western clocks, tick-tock, clicks persist, heard by the cigarro blooms at high noon. Layers of thoughts washed upon a beach, reaching higher on the hot, dry sand, a mermaid's hand, or a wave-worn band of gold on jewelry stand, unsold as the land it was told. No one goes where the dates became ordered. Today they see what they sought to not be just you or me. So then it's not a stretch for a boy about to catch a sunken river log dragged lifeless along the bottom. End poem. Huh, interesting, right? What did you think, Walt?
I liked it. There's some interesting references like Dolly melting time in Western clocks. Tick-tock clicks persist, heard by the cigarro blooms at high noon. The next stanza, layers of thoughts washed up on a beach, reaching higher on the hot, dry sand, a mermaid's hand. I'm not going to say it's surreal, but it's full of deeply detailed imagery that doesn't at first seem connected. But you get to the last one, and I'm not too sure. He's not talking about the boy being dragged lifeless, but the sunken river log, perhaps, which is a part of what's on the bottom of the Brazo River. So I'm thinking that it's some imagery centered around the river itself, and it gives us an interesting look at at the Brazo River, if you will.
Gotcha. Great comment. Thank you, man. And Luyu, WildDove, welcome back. Hello, Luyu. Well, I don't know. Technical difficulties with Luyu WildDove tonight. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic, right? Like you said, there's a surrealism to it that is powerful and engaging. Um, the imagery is spot on. Did Hockney include the splash sounds of a diver slicing into the cool surface of a backyard swimming pool? Dally, melting time in western clocks. Tick-tock, clicks persist. Hurt by the saguaro blooms at high noon. Yeah, incredible imagery. Um, you can picture the Dali painting of the clocks melting. Um, so I thought it was spot on. Well done. Uh, yeah, and Kim Manzano said in the group, a dreamlike lens to explore how time, memory, and perception distorts reality. Great comment. Thanks so much, T Manzano. Hello, Luyu. No, we still can't hear you. Alrighty. Grab the next poll here. If you wouldn't mind giving us a read for us, Lauren, that would be wonderful.
All right.
That's by Esima Chiba,
Yep.
and it's called Vocabulary of War.
Okay. Vocabulary of war. To whom it may concern, today I had to identify humanity's corpse. I'm getting a big echo. I can't necessarily read it like that. To whom it may concern, today I had to identify humanity's corpse, stiff and cold in an open morgue. A torrent of blood overflows and pours from the river to the sea. Prophecies are revealed. Last sip of water, last crumb of bread, last breath, last light. Gaza has gone dark, reduced to rubble, while a thick smoke screen of white phosphorus ignited the air. The bombing doesn't stop. The final destruction of the world is foretold. Apocalypse now. And poem. Wow. That says an awful lot. Some has a viewpoint on this particular piece that marches hand in hand with the headlines.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely does, Lawrence.
Hey,
Right?
Greg?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
so sad what's going on in Gaza, and
yeah.
they're just being annihilated, and it's like, yep, hello,
Yeah. How come we have long
sorry.
silences? Is there a?
Can you hear me, Lauren?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
I'm going to try and take my headphones off and see if that helps. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can't hear anything. I'll have to log back in.
All right. This is what occurs when new technology is employed and no one has had a chance to really work the kinks out and understand what's going on. It's not an enviable position to be in, but that's all right. We'll get it squared away. Gary will be back and the program will proceed. Of course, I'm speaking under the assumption that somebody out there can hear me. I may be wrong. I may be speaking only to myself, which might be a little embarrassing. We'll have to see. Hope that Gray makes it back in
Quit
time.
muting me, Phil. Sorry, but hello, can you hear me, Lauren?
I can.
Okay, great. Is there still a delay?
No.
Okay, good. My headphones seem to be causing the delay. Um, so yeah, it's so tragic what's going on in Gaza. This is a a cry to the world, a plea to the world to help stop this. Um, Gaza has gone dark, reduced to rubble, while a thick smoke screen of white phosphorus ignited the air. The bombing doesn't stop. The final destruction of the world, as foretold. Apocalypse now. And then she says in her author's notes, she says, I send this letter to the world about the ongoing tragic situation in Gaza, which is of great concern to everyone. Yeah, fantastic, right, Astima? And Lauren, you read it. What did you think?
Well, Osama knew exactly how to put pen to paper on this particular one. To whom it may concern is an open invitation to anyone with a little bit of empathy to think about what's going on in Gaza, which has become a place for a couple of twisted minds to express their hatred. What's going on in Gaza is unconscionable. I'm afraid that this country is becoming more and more involved in authoritarian treatment of our fellow man. There's no empathy. There's no community. There's no fellowship. It's all about war and money and greed and hatred. And certain people have gotten it very twisted. When she said today I had to identify humanity's corpse, stiff and cold in an open morgue, she speaks, of course, of the streets of Gaza, the whole place, where there is no order. I'm getting the
Wow.
echo again. I don't know what's going on.
Wow. Great comment, Lauren. Thanks so much. And a fabulous read as well. Hello, Luyu, WildDove. Welcome to the show.
Not yet.
Nope. Oh, well, I'm sorry you're having trouble, Luyu. That sucks. All right, I'm going to grab the next poem here. And this is called If Nature Was Poetry, a poem by Star BG. Oh, and I'll post this to the group. Okay, it goes like this. If nature was poetry, verse would be like gentle birds reverberating in ears. Letters would become steps upon vellum's earthly ground, waiting to sprout flower scenes beautiful. If nature was poetry, breezes would dance in divine visions divine, unleashing gratitude, and animals with coats of furry phases would drift by eyes, activating pens to ink graceful birds making heart sing. If nature was a balladry, flowers in bloom would spark sense of inspiration to tickle rhythmic splendor. Punctuation would be like wavelets of rivers grand, anointing with a healing voice. Yes, if nature was poesy, heart would fill with peace in timeless realm, and as pen stands upright for words to flow. Thank you, nature. You are a sage's gift and poem. And what did you think, Lauren?
I think Star BG did a good thing here. This is a poem that spreads like oil upon the water. It calms things immediately. Although oil may have been a bad analogy. If nature was poetry, verse would be like gentle birds reverberating in ears. And he does a very effective, Star BG does a very effective job of describing what nature would offer if it was poetry. Her images work well. The letters would become steps on vellum's earthly ground, waiting to sprout flower scenes beautiful. Nature was poetry. Breezes would dance in visions divine, unleashing gratitude. And on through the poem, we are gifted with images that spark sense of inspiration allowing us to tickle in rhythmic splendor because nature does those things. I thought you really captured something here in this particular poem. Well done.
Thank you, Laura. Beautiful comment. And yeah, two of my favorite things are poetry and nature. And when you combine them both and let nature be an inspiration, and you know, um, you can have some really inspired poetry, in my humble opinion. Um, but I enjoyed the whole right, really. Um, but if nature was poetry, breezes would dance in visions divine, unleashing gratitude, and animals with coats of furry faces would drift by eyes, activating pens to ink graceful birds, making hearts sing. Yeah, there's just so much beauty in this, right? That it's palpable for sure. Thank you so much for sharing, Star BG. I appreciate it. We appreciate it, honestly. All right. I'm going to post the next link into the group. And when you see this, Lauren, would you mind giving this a read, please?
Certainly.
There we go.
The silence of paper. The mailbox hinge had its own small song, a hopeful squeak I'd learned to know. I'd measure out my afternoons long by the shadow the postman would throw. Your letters were a flimsy shield, ink bled thoughts on paper thin, a world your careful cursive wielded, a place that I could enter in. Then one Tuesday the song was gone, or rather it played for someone else, a circular for a greener lawn, a bill with my name, a stranger's pulse. I told myself the post was slow, that you were busy, tired, spent. I let a week of silence grow, this new and ugly precedent. I didn't know it was a choice, a quiet, deliberate retreat. I thought I'd lost your written voice, not the ground beneath my feet. A phone call is a fleeting ghost, a text flash that disappears. But a letter holds what matters most, the weight of hours, the salt of tears. The day you stopped writing letters was not the day you slammed the final door. It was the slow, insidious rot that starts when there is no more. No more the stamp a crooked kiss. No more the journey over sea. Just the sharp metallic emptiness of a box that holds no part of thee. And I still have the stack tied up in string, each crease a line upon your palm. They are no longer living things, but fossils, beautiful and calm. And the silence isn't empty space, it's the heavy, unwritten reply, the period in the final place, the sentence that was a lie. End poem.
Beautifully read, Lauren. Um, you know, when something comes to an end, such as a love affair, etc., a friendship, it's heartbreaking and it's lonely and it's hurtful. Um, the tears will flow. You know, um, there's a loneliness that sets in and an emptiness that your connection to someone has been annihilated and is gone, whether it was by choice or by situational pressure. Uh, when somebody goes off the radar and you can no longer see them or feel them or hear them or read them, um, it's such a sad, sad thing um, that, is very tragic. I thought it was a beautiful, right? Heart wrenching for sure. And you did an excellent read of it, Lauren. What did you think?
Well, this really moved me quite a bit. Starting with the title, The Silence of Paper. Paper is silent until it has a voice. And when you sit down to write a letter, certain things have to happen. You have to have an envelope. You have to have paper. You have to have pen. I don't know about anyone else who writes letters, but I want a good spot. I want to feel at peace when I write it. I need to have a good visual. It takes a little bit of thought. You're not just sitting down in front of a keyboard and hammering out a few abbreviated words in response to a text received a few moments before. The immediacy of that may be interesting and appealing, but there's no substitute. When the mailman comes to your box, takes the envelopes, puts them in there, and the walk out to the mailbox is a ritual that we perform. And we stand in the street by the box and we look at the envelopes to see if there's anything particularly interesting. We don't normally wait until we get back into the house. And when we spot that certain letter, and we open it with a sense of anticipation, is exactly what this particular poem offers. It's beginning with the mailbox hinge having its own small song, which I thought was such a nice touch. A hopeful squeak I'd learned to know. I'd measure out my afternoons long by the shadow the postman would throw. And you have to appreciate the rhyming that goes into this and the way it built to almost to an anticlimax. The fact that the letters were no longer coming, it's something that stole the ground beneath his feet. And really, your earth, the world you live in, shifts in a way that really, the realization comes slowly, perhaps, but it comes because after that week, you don't see that familiar handwriting. You begin to imagine the worst things. There's just something about receiving a letter and something about the way ashes of spilled ink put this poem together that makes it something I would enjoy reading over again because of the skill that is used in presenting us with a sentence that was a lie, so to speak. It's a betrayal, and it's hard to deal with. But great poem.
Fantastic comment, Lauren. Much appreciated. You did a beautiful read of that as well. Um, yeah, I think Luyu must have given up because I don't see her anymore. Um, yeah, T. Manzano said, such a painful dissolution of a relationship through the cessation of letters, the end of intimacy, and intense emptiness. This is a powerful pen. Great comment. Thank you, T. Manzano. Yeah, um, yeah, it was a heartfelt poem for sure. Okay, so I have up next, I have Giraffe by Matt F. in Chicago. A giraffe sits atop my beeping machine. He monitors my monitor. But what can he do if the chime stops? What can he do if the line goes flat or the great bell tolls? I am splayed and numb, prone like a grasshopper frozen on its back, floating on a blade of bluegrass. My bargain backfires, a valiant effort of value. Through a fog of self loathing, and with limbs full of lead, touch is the only true sense. Fingertips like sandpaper, press buttons, and discover the exterminator. The hostile hotel feeds me potatoes and burnt pork belly crisp and faceless decaffeinated with sugar packets split into fragments and misfires. We could not sleep for every deafening silent howl. All claws dislodged from my skin, but not without leaving an oil spill. End poem. What did you think, Lord?
Well, I tell you what, when you're hospitalized, life is not fun. And the writing in this captures something. In the second stanza, I am splayed and numb, prone like a grasshopper frozen on its back, floating on a blade of bluegrass. My bargain backfires, a valiant effort of Valium. And the next one, through a fog of self-loathing and with limbs full of lead, touch is the only true sense. Fingertips like sandpaper, press buttons and discover the exterminator. It's an ironic, semi-sarcastic look at a stay in the hospital that I thought was very well put together. Nicely done.
Great comment, Lauren. Thanks so much. Yeah, as somebody who's survived many a hospital stay, this hit home with me. You know, I don't know. There's something about um, a giraffe sitting up top my beeping machine. He monitors my monitor. To me, that speaks to like the IV rack, right, where you
Right.
got bags hanging, and
Yeah.
they sit, over your monitoring machine. Um, but the whole thing is just palpable and painful. The hostile feeds me potatoes and burnt pork belly crisps, and faceless decaffeinating with sugar packets, split into fragments and misfires. We could not sleep for every deafening silent howl. All claws dislodged from my skin, but not without leaving an oil spill. Yeah, hard hitting, right, for sure. And Luyu, WildDove, whatever happened to you? Um, yeah, I'm not too sure. Anyway, hopefully she'll be back. We'll see. But no, that was a fantastic write, really. Matt F. in Chicago did a great job with this. Excellent write. Alrighty, I'm gonna grab the next poem here. Do 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 do. All right, so we have "On the Edge of Sleep," a poem by M. Badalamenti, and I'll post this to the group. There we go. All right, Laura, whenever you're ready, please and thank you.
Certainly. On the edge of sleep, the midnight hour melts toward day. I hear the seconds tick away. My thoughts float on an endless sea of nighttime possibilities. A unicorn with a golden horn, a flock of jumping sheep unshorn, a sand castle a mile high, beneath a sunlit rainbow sky. An ocean liner, heaven's sake, its throaty horn jolts me awake. A locomotive chugs on forth through mountain tunnels in its course. The tick-tock of my bedroom clock, while counting an imagined flock, has, so far, only served to keep me waiting on the edge of, I'll say it, sleep. End poem.
Well, fantastic read, Laura. Great job. But yeah, you know, as the midnight hour melts towards day, I hear the seconds tick away. My thoughts float on an endless sea of nighttime possibilities. When you're falling asleep, there's I don't know, a transition where you're awake but you're sleeping at the same time, and you can see the world as it passes by. And you know, um, you get visions and imagery that just isn't normal, like a unicorn with a golden horn, or a flock of jumping sheep unshorn, a sandcastle a mile high beneath a sunlit rainbow sky. You get all these visions as you go into the dream state. Um, it's I don't know. There's a snore hidden within it somewhere. It says lambic tetrameter coupled rhyme scheme. So um, I don't know. That's in there somewhere. My guess is the second stanza. A unicorn with golden horn, a flock of jumping sheep unshorn, a sand castle a mile high, beneath a sunlit rainbow sky. Um, but I thought it was great. Really, the tick-tock of my bedroom clock while counting an imagined flock has so far only served to keep me waiting on the edge of dun 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 sleep. Yeah, I liked it. Great job. And Lauren, what did you think?
I appreciate this because last night I was on the edge of sleep for 8 hours. never really actually slept, which is making me feel a little bit giddy tonight. The midnight hour melts towards day. Hear the seconds tick away. My thoughts float on an endless sea of nighttime possibilities. When you let the mind go freely, where it wishes to wander, all kinds of fantastical images pop up into your head. Images from when you were a child, disappointments, triumphs, all kinds of little things try to sneak into your thoughts at night. And you have to shut those voices up, I think, if you're going to go to sleep. So if you're sitting there hearing the tick-tock of a bedroom clock while counting an imagined flock, the only thing that serves at that point is to keep you on the edge of sleep, never really falling asleep. So I love the way this is written, and it's an absolutely perfect description of trying to sleep and perhaps failing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Lauren. Thank you so much. And a great read as well. All right. So up next we have Prudent Hope brings us on being an expat. I'm not, but expatriation hits close to home. Spread out arms, a child points to split burrs. According to the internet, when I was a child, I was doing it all wrong. I cannot recall a time when I needed to help to knock matured chestnuts off either tree in our backyard. But after doing so, I'd peeled off the reddish brown covering to get to the yellow prize without roasting them. A few decades ago, I thought I would introduce my two small children to the taste of my memories, but the store bought chestnuts were not the same. Instead, we walked we walk 2 plots north of home, but far from my childhood. I point to the palm tree, almost as high as the flagpole next to it. I teach my two youngsters the history of our country, while the chains that were used to hoist the flag clang as rhythmic reminders of the past. Palm from fronds wave, wind blows over stones. Today, my two adult kids are married, and oldest is in another hemisphere. The palm's crown shaft towers at twice the height of the stars and stripes. According to the internet, I'm still doing it all wrong. Inside cyberspace, but from across town, where my oldest and her wife used to live. Contingent is under the sales price. I gaze at the empty living room in the third photo and skim through many depictions of emptiness. Photos 32 through 36 conclude the virtual tour in the backyard. The ornamental tree we nurtured is unrecognizable. Perhaps the new owner will have better luck, and poem. And there's a link in the author's notes that says this is what her tree should have looked like by now. So, yeah. What did you think, Lauren?
I think it was somebody who felt almost dislocated from their past. When you live in a place for a long time and then have to move away from it to a place that's not home yet, and you go back and you look at the pictures of where you used to live because it's selling contingent upon something, it kind of is a real dislocation. I once took a trip to visit a place I used to live in for a number of years, and it felt very, very odd. It was home, yet it wasn't home at the same time. And I think that's what we have here. Well written.
Great comment, Lauren. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, trees hold a special place in my heart too. Um, there's always this oak tree on the corner of my street where I was growing up, and I would meet a special girl under the tree, and so that tree always held a special place in my heart. I'm sure that my initials are still etched along with hers on that tree, and
Nice. Sounds like you fodder for a poem.
right, yeah, under the old oak tree for sure. Um, yeah, great job. It reminds me of yeah, like I said, growing up. So yeah, fantastic job. Thank you for sharing. Prudent Hope, and a remarkable poem for sure. All right, Luyu, WildDove, welcome back.
Try after try, huh?
All right, yeah, she's here, but she can't say anything, I guess. But she's
Well,
listening.
we'll enjoy her in that way.
Yeah, for sure. Well said, Lauren. All right, I'm gonna grab the next poem here. All right. So the next break is called Arboreal Resilience, a poem by Volcanic Comet. And I'll post this to the group. There we go. Whenever you're ready, Lauren.
All right. Arboreal resilience. In the heartwood sanctum, where whispers of time unfold, a titan broods in silence, a tale of ages untold. Oak, an oracle of resilience, its bark a living scroll, unveiling epochs and rings, each resilient, each bold. In soil kissed by ancestral hymns, it casts its roots, serrated, sinewed tendrils, burrowed in truth, anchored firm, refusing submission to fate's cruel jest, a primal proclamation against oblivion's tempest. Limbs gnarled and sinewed, like sinews of fate's design, reaching skyward, claiming stars in a cosmic twine. Each leaf a poem, etched with sun's golden blaze, whispers of strength through verdant stoic days. When lightning rends the firmament in wild crescendo, the oak stands as if in defiance against the bellow. Weathered, scarred, yet dauntless in its might, resilience forged in the crucible of darkest night. In winter's shroud, a skeletal silhouette it becomes, yet within its marrow, hope hums in quiet thrums, awaiting the vernal dance when life reclaims its reign, a phoenix from embers, a testament to resilience's gain. So let us glean from this title. Wow. So let us glean from this titan, ageless and grand, the resolve to rise in adversity's demanding hand. In the woven composition of life, let our stories echo this creed, bearing witness to trials, with resilience as our steed. End poem. You unmute, Greg? Well, Greg, I don't know whether I got dropped or whether you dropped out. I'll stay in place
I'm
for a
here,
moment.
Lauren. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, the world's oldest tree
Can't hear you now.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Huh, I can't go to. I don't know how you can hear me reading poems because I did a Google search, and as soon as I went to read the results, it cut me off of my microphone. So anyway, um,
I wouldn't leave
Methuselah,
the mic.
Methuselah is a bristle pine, and it's over 4,000 years old, 4,600 and some odd years old. It's incredible that there's a tree that's been around for so long, has seen so much, and survived so many wars, famines, etc. To keep shining its light, really, because that's what it's doing. Um, yeah, I thought it was a beautiful poem. Very reverent to our tree folk. A boreal resilience. To stand up against all the weather changes and the environmental changes in 4,000 years. That's incredible to me.
Really?
That a tree could live so long. 4,000 years. Think about that. That's just unfathomable. And yet there it is, steadily rooted in its grounding and holding on for dear life. Wow, incredible. What did you think, Lauren?
I really like this. There's something about a tree, and I'm sure most poets will agree. It is easy to take that tree and consider it as a living being. Of course, it's a living being, but almost as if it was sentient. And then you begin to personalize the tree that you like. You begin to assign it certain qualities of thought. And that's exactly what the poet did here. And I love what Volcanic Kemet did in his description of the tree, especially the second stanza. In soil kissed by ancestral hymns, it cast its roots, serrated sinew tendrils, burrowed in truth, anchored firm, refusing submission to fate's cruel jest, a primal proclamation against oblivion's tempest. It was really nicely done. I like his rhythm, and I like his rhyming. Great front page pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful comment, Lauren. You know, um, I love it. I'm all about trees. We wouldn't be here without them. We wouldn't have oxygen to breathe without them. So, all hail the tree. That's what I say.
That's right. I wonder if Paul Bunyan would agree with you.
Yeah.
He cut them down.
Yeah, exactly, right? Just chop them all down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm going to grab the next. So we're beginning open poetry now. And this first right is by Mike Horsfall. And I will give this a read. Post it to the group. All right. Of mice and men. Under the sink, a hush. My chest, a small gate. Pain is a slow lantern. It burns, asking for more. Night folds its black paper. I am still here, still hiding. One more night. I borrow. From what? From breath. The house is cold decay. Each wall listens. Withheld. I drag my shadow forward. Dust tastes like old mold. Collects its essence on my whiskers. Some instinct, thin as thread, pulls towards the seam of a door. I turn and gaze back. The old man opens his gnarled hands, his fogged gaze on me. A broken clock. It pauses. His breath, a door opening. He watches me, not hunting. He lets the escape stay lifted. He lets the traps stay unset. Night, it folds itself, holding him. I squeeze through. A last pain. Outside, the grass unfastens. Cold dew takes my paws. The sky, a pale rinsing of night. Light arrives without permission. Birds stitch the air, singing, each note a last instruction. I smell spring, unowned sweetness, green opening its quiet mouth. The horizon tips, forgiving. Blossom twirls in sweet breeze, and my heart, free. A small clock stops. Inside he sighs, his mercy a slow lantern. Now it cools, refusing more. Dark opening, its loud maw, and his heart, alone, and the broken clock stops. End poem. What did you think, Lauren?
Hey, well read, Gray. Nicely done. The first time I read this, I realized all of a sudden this had to be a pet, and I thought it was a dog, but after seeing the title, of course, that gives it away. It becomes a cat. And how enormously creative and clever to be able to do this and contrast the house being a cold and decay where dust tastes like old mold, and what you have is an old man who is past his prime. The house is no longer upkept the way it was in the past. He doesn't do much. And the poet, Mike, does a great job of bringing us through a variety of images that are seen through the eye of a cat. And he does a really good job at that. I was pleased to be able to read this early and pleased to be able to read it again. Nicely done.
Beautiful comment, Lauren. Thanks so much. Yeah, I liked it too. There's the way he paints with his words is fantastic. Um, each image is clearly set out. You can feel the emotions, the tug and the pull that each side has, and I don't know. There's just it's such a engaging, right? Like the title is borrowed, I think, because Mice and Men was a book, I believe, and
Yeah.
I really like the way he wrote this with blossom twirls in sweet breeze, and my heart free. A small clock stops. Inside he sighs. His mercy, a slow lantern. Now it cools, refusing more. Dark opening its loud maw, and his heart, alone. A broken clock stops. Excellent, right, Mike Horsfall? Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I'm going to grab the next poem here. And this is by Lorient Montaner, and it has a SoundCloud. Bill. So,
I was once a little spry seed of
Fill My Eyes, can you play that?
in your special garden.
It's playing.
But I then blossom into the ripe and budding flower of today, infused by the morning showers of the midday spring of dreams, when you nurtured my delicate petals with your tender care. Every day you embraced me with the fondness of a mother's grace, taught me to dance amongst the playful dew and revel in the rain, to let the seasons accompany the days, in the moonlight the nights, never forgetting the fresh fragrance of your scent in the evening petrichor. You comforted me in the darkness and watched me grow in the sunlight, when I was all alone and too afraid to even let you know what I felt, how much I really just needed to hear the words from you. It's okay, I'm here for you, so fold your drowsing petals and go to sleep. Return to the special garden I have, with such a sweet smile, as I came anew to see, amid roses and waxing white jasmines, where I used to be before in the gleam of the twilight of my youth, with the colourful butterflies nigh, when you sheltered me with love. Now after all this time past, I do the same.
Lord, did you hear that?
I have come.
I am listening to it now.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I can't hear anything.
Bloom. Madrecita, eres la cosa más hermosa en el jardín. Mother, you are the most beautiful thing in the garden. My jasmine flower. My beloved jasmine flower.
Well done. Nice SoundCloud laureate.
I love you with all my heart.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have been nice if I could have heard it, but whatever.
Well, you're fortunate to be able to read the words.
Yeah. I've heard this before, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember this is a dedication to his mother, and it was beautiful. Really, it's truly divine and beautiful expression of love for his mother. Such a reverent and loving tribute to his beautiful mother. And then always a pleasure to hear you read this with such emotions. But yeah, excellent job. Great job, Lauren. And what did you think, Lauren?
I believe the word used by several people who read this poem was devotional. A beautiful devotional. I have to agree. When you have a mother that you love and you can write with a skill that Lorient can, puts together something that touches all hearts, because we all have mothers. And we all love our mothers in one way or another. Some less than others, but that's beside the point. I thought he did a beautiful job with this. Very touching. Idealized, perhaps, but that's as it should be. Well done.
Beautiful comment, Lauren. Thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, there's just such a reverence in his voice for his mother. I was once a little spry seed of innocence in your special garden, but then I blossomed to the ripe and budding flower of today, infused by the morning showers of the midday spring of dreams, when you nurtured my delicate petals with your tender care. Just a beautiful right. I loved it, Maureen. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I'm gonna grab the next poem here. And this is by Budo, and it's called Maybe. It's a song, so I will post this to the group. And Fill My Eyes, if you wouldn't mind playing the recording, please.
Maybe if I can compromise nights are so cold since you left me high and dry that early Christmas morn. And though as I might have tried and I've tried, but I can't get you, girl, out of my mind. No, I can't get you, girl. No, I can't get you out of my mind. You, girl. No, I can't get you out of my mind.
So I'm sure that was a great song. The poem is good. Uh, Maybe if I can compromise, then it comes as no surprise. I'll take the good in the world and channel it deep inside. And maybe then, would it bring you home again to me? Would it bring you back again into my arms? There's such a heartfelt plea that, and the angst and the longing is palpable. Oh, the days are so long and the nights are so cold since you left me high and dry that early Christmas morn. What a day to be left on is Christmas morning. What a gift, so sad. But it was a beautiful write throughout, and I thought it was engaging and palpable. And what did you think, Lauren? You're on mute, Lauren.
You're right. I was on mute. Shame on me. This you would think that this would be a sad song, singing about a girl he misses, somebody he loved, someone who left him on Christmas morning of all days. But the tone of the music is not sad, nor is it sung sadly. It's wistful, hopeful still, and the music itself is almost happy, not happy in the sense of joy, but happy in the sense of something that was remarkable existed and hopefully will exist again. It's an expression of missing someone, but not being so mired in the misery of the missing, but rather somehow remaining above that sadness and singing of the joy that the relationship brought. I heard that in the music, and it's really nice to hear somebody play their own music instead of having an AI construct some crescendo of music that is unrealistic in a individual effort. Nicely done, Buddha.
Fantastic comment, Lauren. Thanks so much. Alrighty. I'm going to post the next poem, and this is called Old Man by Stanza Hero. And I will give this a read. The weather outside today is dreary. The light drizzle creates static in color. On the eaves, freshly painted pergola, and on the wet green grass in the garden. I've almost forgotten green fields lately. I'm used to them being dull yellow. Now, What color were they when you saw them last? Bright green, the color of fresh spring clover, the dull yellow of a dry and parched summer, or the muddy brown of wet winter? I already know the answer, but I try. I try to pull you back to us, to engage. I traveled on old roads from years ago. They're shadows of memories now. I used to know them well. Once. Trees that were little more than saplings, now mature screens on forgotten cottage tops. Road verges are now overgrown bushland. I pause, but you give me no response. But like those old cottage rest stops, the real you is long gone. Left are the apparitions, long lost foundations from when we knew each other well. End poem. Wow, what did you think, Lauren?
I enjoyed this from this point of view of an old man. I like the way it begins. The weather outside today is dreary. The light drizzle creates static and color. On the eaves, the freshly painted pergola, and on the wet green grass in the garden. I like the use of colors. And then the statement, I've almost forgotten green fields lately. I'm used to being I'm used to them being a dull yellow. What color were they when you saw them last? When you've seen colors for 80 years or 90 years, you remember colors differently when you're young as opposed to when you're older. There's a vividness to the world when it's all new. And somehow, as you age, it ages as well. Um, and the answers to a lot of questions are there already. I like the lines. I traveled on old roads from years ago. They're shadows of memories now. I used to know them well once. It's so engaging, especially at the end. Left are apparitions, long lost foundations from when we knew each other well. It's really a story of relationships somehow drifting apart, but using the internal vision to as counterpoint against that. Skillfully done. I really enjoyed this.
Great comment, Lauren. Thank you so much. But when somebody's with you and you've lost them already, that's got to be one of the hardest things because age happens and it takes away our memories and it steals who we are. Um, the person that we are laying here isn't the person that we were. Um, it's the real you is long gone. Left our apparitions, long lost foundations from when we knew each other well. I really hope that I don't have to go through this with my mother. I hope she just goes peacefully in her sleep and doesn't fade away for years and years because the interim's got to be so hard and so painful. Um, very emotional, right? For sure. Thank you so much for sharing, Stanza Hero. Alrighty. I'm going to grab your poem next, Laurent. Alrighty. Whenever you're ready, Laurent.
All right. This was written for a Bukowski contest. It's called Contrition Gone a Wandering. The priest in the next room is absolving his tendencies, a purification of rote. Chopping hymns, his bottle is a friend of mine, my personal liturgy. Off-label, off-brand, an amber fire without pretense, double-dealing doses. 2 old smudge pots, all lilacs and congestion, eating what ails us. We pattern each other, defrocked failures, apes with pens and prayers. I am surrounded by notebooks, he by hymnals. Neither of us sing. But he hums, a deep gargle off key, and sobs the same way, fondling his cross. I fillate the mother tongue, seeking a strong finish, parsing stanzas, until the cock crows for both of us, as dawn brings a stupor, passing for peace. A new day, blessed with whiskey and stale toast, our daily body and blood, contrition gone a-wandering, Anton.
Beautiful read, Laurent, and a fantastic write, really. You started off with the priest in the next room is dissolving his tendencies, a purification of rote. Um, I'm not too sure what rote. The process of memorizing information or performing a task.
Yeah, you do it over and over and over and over.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and I had to Google contrition because I'd forgotten what that meant. But that basically means remorse, basically, right?
Right, right.
Um, but no, I loved your right. It's so atmospheric. Two old smudge pots, all lilacs and congestion, heating what ails us. We pattern each other, deep rock failures, apes with pens and prayers. I'm surrounded by notebooks, he by hymnals. Neither of us sing. Um, you know, I phallate the mother tongue. So now I got to Google that. It's a verb that means to perform fellatio, which is the act of providing sexual stimulation. Wow.
I couldn't say BJ, now could I?
I'm sorry?
No, nothing. I made an off humor
Okay.
comment
Uh,
that I won't repeat.
But, I really like that. And then you've got the next stanza until the cock crows for both of us, as dawn brings a stupor, passing for peace. A new day blessed with whiskey and stale toast, our daily body and blood, contrition, gone a wandering. What an epic right, really. Um, there's so much going on behind the frock, so much unsaid and unacknowledged, I guess you could say, in reality. There's just so much, I don't know, so much to say about this, right? Really. It's prophetic, really. It speaks to the abstract nature that is religion and those that practice it and promote it, such as priests. Um, but yeah, this is dirty realism for sure. Great job, Lauren. Would you like to say anything about your poem?
I had high hopes for it. Those were dashed. What are you going to do? But I thought it captured the essential Bukowski in the way that he might have a roommate who was, of all things, a defrocked priest, who was still going through the motions desperately. And the two of them sharing with alcohol and days that really went nowhere. He is a failed writer, the other is a failed priest. I thought the contrast was interesting from that point of view.
Right. Yeah. Well, you did a beautiful job of it, I think,
Thank you.
Um, yeah. I think you really captured the essence that is Bukowski, edgy and kind of dark. But
Well, the contest that it was entered in, it should probably not have been entered in. You've got folks who love to reward their friends with medals, and then those friends reward them back, and you know where all that goes. So it
right.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. You can only do what you can do, and that's all you can do. You can't do anything more than that. So
That's right.
nice effort, though, Lauren. I appreciate it. And thank you for hanging out to read it with us. All right. I'm going to post the next link. This is by Flutter the Cabra. And it goes like this. It's called The Old Jetty. Our old handmade jetty is rotting away. Boards are suffering from years of decay. Was right there that I first learned to swim. No choice really, 'cause Dad pushed me in. Dad was like that. He liked to clown around. No way, though, would he have let me drown. Could dive back in then. Boards were springing, and it was there. We moored our little dinghy. Lots of fishing done there, and occasional naps in amongst the reeds. We'd set crawfish traps. We'd fish with lures, mostly from jetty or boat. Yeah, on other occasions, it would be worms with a float. Girlfriend and I would swim here naked and carefree. It was on the old jetty one night that I lost my virginity. Unfortunately, good times like that can never last. Grown old quickly, and the years have flown past. Wouldn't walk on those boards today. Be very unsafe. Still look at the jetty with fond memories it did create. Can see her smiling face in the water. Try not to cry. She didn't get to see it one last time before she died. Arm in arm, kissing passionately, treading water together. Sweet memories of our times here have lasted forever. One last look at the jetty, then wipe a tear from my eye. Ready soon to join my wife and kiss the world goodbye. End poem. Wow, what did you think, Lauren?
Well, I'm getting a echo again that I can hear very loudly. All right. When you're at the end of your life and you're not really sure how much longer you're going to live, but you have no intention of dying early, certainly. But when you reach a certain point, you tend to look at things and think back to the times in your life when they were important. And here we have the jetty and the memories of youth, the memories of love, the memories of a biological awakening of a young person. All important things. And it's beautifully described throughout. There's a certain piece about the description, the piece of a place well known, a place well loved. And I do like old jetties. They're quite picturesque. And yes, beware them as they age because they become unsteady. But there was a poignancy to the way this finished that really pulled at my heart. One last look at the jetty, then wipe a tear from my eye, ready soon to join my wife and kiss the world goodbye. It really hit home. I enjoyed it a great deal.
A fantastic comment, Lauren. Thanks so much. All right, so um, waiting for Jojo to appear. There he is. Hello, Jojo. Welcome to the show.
Am I on?
You are.
Okay, good. I don't show up in the main window, so
Yeah, I can see
see
it.
it's got a blue bar on it, so I'm good.
All right, so I'm going to post your poem to the group.
All right,
If you wouldn't mind reading this, please.
I will try. This is called My Little Brown Mouse by Jojo. I was penning you poems with long lyrical lines, ample alliteration, repetition, rhythm, and rhymes. I noticed some motion from the corner of my eye. My Cheez-Its were moving. I couldn't explain why. A little brown mouse tipped the box on its side, grabbed a broken cracker, and made a beeline to hide. Forgive me if I don't understand reincarnation. For not knowing the details, I have an explanation. I'm a white guy who grew up in Northern California, lived in Germany, Connecticut, And then in Victoria, I was raised devout Catholic, not exactly a Hindu, but the Cheez-Its made me wonder if the mouse might be you. So I made you a bed from my softest old tea, with Cheez-Its and water, as safe as can be. On the rules of your rebirth, please do not quibble. Let me read you this poem while you lie here and nibble. End poem.
Wow, incredible read. Lauren, what did you think of JoJo's poem?
Well, it was enormously touching. First of all, I'm trying to reconcile the decision to have Shamala reincarnated as a little brown mouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the one hand, I like little brown mice. They're cute. They scurry. They look at you. They twitch. And it's very easy to believe that that little brown mouse could indeed be the person that you think that you want it to be. And with an affection for Cheez-Its, which I assume is part of what Shyamalan enjoyed in life, maybe it's a very logical way of looking at the whole affair, of quenching some of the grief felt, of flipping the script, so to speak, and not making it lighthearted, certainly, but gently supposing a brief little fantasy that might very well be fact. Because I like the idea of reincarnation. Sure, it's something Shamala believed in, as do a great percentage of the human race. So yes, by all means, let her become a little brown mouse in a little house that you made for her, and allow you to read to her as she nibbles. It's so affectionate. It brought a big smile to my face, and I think it's a healing poem as well. Well done.
Thank you, Laurent.
Yeah, I mean, loss is something that can't be prevented. You know, we have no control over who goes and when, but the whole thing is understandable and palpable. You know, you get a vibe from something, you know, and it tells you that that's an old spirit that's looking at you through the eyes of a new life. And um, but I really got a question: is there really a brown mouse, or is this all your imagination?
Mm.
But yeah, you know, it's heartfelt, it's palpable. Um, you know, I have a crow that comes flying up to me every time I go outside, and to me, that's my brother Dylan, who's just passed in the last 5 years. Um, Coming to say hi every time I go outside. Um, so yeah, I mean, I can relate to feeling a spirit in something that's not an actual human, but just something that you can feel a kinship with. And good night, Lauren. Um, yeah, so I mean, it's a palpable, engaging right throughout. Yeah, so would you like to say anything about your poem?
Yeah, I mean, was trying to capture the confusion of someone who's outside the religion and kind of uncertain as to the details and the mechanisms and also kind of trying to figure that out in the midst of grief, and also trying to put a little bit of irrational rationality, I guess, around grieving, I guess. But I think those who've talked to me a lot about my poetry will know that the little brown mouse is real, and that I did indeed put out water for him or her, and that I did leave a little stack of crackers. And so the author's note is real. I don't know what happens after death. I do know you liked Cheez-Its. Therefore, bed water poem. P.S. At least I am now living with you, sweetheart, or some random mouse who loves Cheez-Its as much as you. So, yeah, it's a fairly relatively true story. I don't know where the mouse is right now, but yeah. So,
Wow. Yeah, exactly. You know when you know. So you got to follow your feelings for sure. What a beautiful write.
also Shamala was sort of allergic to cats, and we kind of joked on and off for many months about I have a cat Frank, and we joked about, like, Frank loves you, but she would, like, try and kill you if you ever actually met her, because dander and stuff. So we kind of joked about that for a while. So I thought having a cat's a counterpart would also be would be fitting. So anyway,
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful read and a beautiful write.
and I would
Okay,
love to read Ben Hart's piece. If
yeah, for sure. I'm just gonna read Gary Rubin's quick, and then you can
Oh,
read
okay.
Ben's,
Sorry.
Ben's right. Okay, so Gary Rubin brings us sickened by a lack of respect. A muted gray sunrise limps through blurred, cloudy skies like a rigid, arthritic old man who shuffles to his mailbox, hoping to find an emaciated, thin Social Security check. Inside his home are bare cupboards and prescription meds unfulfilled. All the loose change that felt like rain between couch cushions evaporated into a parched, drought stricken landscape. Every piece of scrap metal has been sold off. Robber barons have stolen everything but his dignity. He is a junk car, stripped of its parts, the remaining shell propped up on cinder blocks. With his government check in hand, he walks to town center. It is a battle of baton, death march. There aren't enough bank tellers. Nearly spent, he stands in a long line, while VIP business customers are hustled through. People offer praise, thanking old soldiers for their service, the last remaining member of the greenest generation left to die, trampled by the democracy that forgot about him and the callously blind throngs who pushed by. End poem. And this is written for the prompt poem by Ferengeti Oak Blue, A Far Rockaway of the Heart. Yeah, and it has a poem in the author's note, so you can check that out if you'd like. And what did you think, Jojo?
Yeah, this is on the nose here with respect to how veterans are treated. And I read this the other day, and decided after a while that it wasn't particular to any generation of soldiers. And I like the imagery, the muted gray sunrise. So it's, muted and gray, the blurred cloudy skies. So it paints a kind of a darkened picture from the very beginning. And, then it's just this kind of this checkbox list of all of the ways that we do not respect and honor our soldiers. The Social Security check is emaciated, thin. The cupboards are bare. The prescription meds are unfilled. Loose change, drought-stricken landscape. The scrap metal that's all been sold off. So it's a soldier that's a veteran who's living in poverty and selling off everything. And the junk car that's propped up on cinder blocks, stripped of its parts. And so it's like this long laundry list of ways that we just fail to respect and honor our our soldiers. And the last stanza just kind of brings it home and finishes punching everybody on the nose. The greatest generation left to die, trampled by the democracy that forgot about him and the callously blind throngs who rushed by. So a really nice and thoughtful and emotional piece, I think.
Triple comment, Jojo. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Okay, I have the next poem. This is called "The Shapelessness Required to Belong" by Ben Hart. If you wouldn't mind reading that, please, Jojo.
It's my honor. The Shapelessness Required to Belong, 5, by Ben Hart. What if I no longer have it in me, the violence of form? What if next I sleep and leave this unmet romance unmet, until all that remains of its perfect aching are the lunar tears of whispered dusks, dissolving slowly into the dark pink hearts of almond blossoms? What if I wish not to inhabit you, dear death, but merely meet God as creatures of a mutual amnesia, like a swan veiled in spindrifts of snow, like the colors by which light was briefly plagiarized by closed eyes before unblooming onto the black abysmal sleep. If I close my eyes now, I fear that I may not find them again until the shattering of dreams, there where the spent light waits, eternities for you and me. And poem.
Fantastic read, Jojo. It's beautiful and it's kind of sad at the same time. It's like you're losing your childhood and you don't want to. What if I wish not to inhabit you, dear death, but merely meet God as creatures of a mutual amnesia, like a swan veiled in spindrifts of snow, like the colors by which light was briefly plagiarized by closed eyes before unblooming onto the black abyssal sleep. Well, he's such a deep guy. He really has a depth of emotion and perception that's palpable and engaging throughout. He always has such a deep right. There's never any shallow emptiness to his right. His rights are deep and full of thoughts and emotions. Um, I don't know, something just powerful about Ben Hart's poetry that really grasps the imagination and grasps the heart. Um, I would say Ben Hart is what poetry is about. So beautiful job, Ben Hart, and a great read as well, Jojo. What did you think, Jojo?
I think there's a few ways to read this. The way that I prefer to read it is this is a writer, a poet, probably, who is whose greatest fear is not death, but the inability to write. What if I no longer have it in me, the violence of form? So, he's worrying, concerned. His fear is not being able to write. And what if next I sleep and leave the unmet romance unmet? So he's not talking about going to sleep and not waking up. He's really talking, I think, about losing the ability to write before death. And I think what if I wish not to inhabit you, dear death, but merely meet God as creatures of a mutual amnesia? I think the amnesia there is, for me, kind of the important part of that, like not being able to write. because of maybe dementia or some kind of amnesia adjacent condition. And then he says, like a swan veiled in spindrifts of snow. So it's a swan that's unable to see through the snow, and like the colors by which light was briefly plagiarized by closed eyes. So not necessarily dead, but just unable to write. And I spent my scientific career, really concerned about the inability, about losing the ability to do my science, which was, quite a bit of thinking and so forth. And so, things like dementia were always kind of central in my mind. Not only the inability to make an income, but really to just have that impact on the world around me that I was looking for in my science career. And so I just really feel this poem. It speaks to me on not only as a poet, not only as a writer, but like also in my science career. It just and I think that fear of losing the ability to have your impact, whatever it is, in whatever field it is, or in whatever manner it is, I think is very real. And to me, this poem speaks to me that way. So, end comment.
A fantastic comment. Thanks so much, Jojo, and an excellent read as well. Okay, so we have Ruby2446 brings us And She Sang. A candle quenched its flame, doused in tears. A lamp switched off. A dark shadow over moon and sun. A voice silenced. A conscience lost. A sister, mother, friend, and idol. A heart that beats no more. She spoke when many would not. Lord heaven help us, could not. And she sang. She stood up for the underdogs, the victims, before it was accepted they existed. And she sang. She lived a troubled life, moments in the spotlight, not a material girl. Proceeds of some concerts donated to simple charities. A favorite of some TV hosts, sometimes described as scandalous, and the song, sometimes Wild Child, or Guiding Light, or Songstress, and a priestess, and the song, Eyes Too Beautiful, Woman So Intelligent, articulate, and the song, Unique Irish Woman, outspoken in her search for justice, outspoken in her search for inner peace, shared her struggles, and she sang, outspoken, never outsung. Nothing and no one compares to you. R.I.P. Sinead O'Connor. And that was written to a contest with the prompt, Nothing Compares to You, inspired by the song from Sinead O'Connor. Sinead O'Connor died on July 26, 2023 in London. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing compares to you. Yeah, a beautiful singer she was. And what did you think, Jojo?
This is a really nice elegy, I would say, to remembrance of, elegy of, obituary of, a nice overview, not only of Sinead O'Connor's music, which is kind of scattered throughout the poem, but also really on a much deeper level, talking about Sinead O'Connor as a person, as a sister, a mother, a friend, and also all of her social causes, and also her what was important to her in life, her character. She stood up for the underdogs, the victims, before it was accepted they existed. So it also speaks to her sorry, I'm at a loss for words tonight. Her activism, and I like. I was in a Starbucks today, and Material Girl came on. So on the radio in Starbucks. So she lived a troubled life. Moments in the spotlight. Not a Material Girl is kind of a nice. Shout out to another woman that I respect greatly, Cyndi Lauper, right? So, so I liked that. So she was, also amongst the community of musicians. So I thought this was just really nice. It summed up, or it detailed maybe all of the many different layers to Sinead O'Connor's life, who she was and what she believed in, and her social justice work. But also her music, which is what I think most people know her by. She was a powerhouse in the music industry, and I'm sure that she is missed by millions and millions of people worldwide. So a nice tribute to her. Thank you so much, Ruby. That was beautiful.
Yeah, she wore a bald head because she didn't want to be idolized for her beauty. So she cut all her hair off.
Mm.
Isn't that crazy? But I mean, it's real, it was,
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was her fucking throwing her fist up and saying, fuck society, fuck mankind. I'm going to be me and I'm beautiful with a bald head or not. And, I thought she was a wonderful singer and just a true warrioress of life. She really stuck her fist up and said, "To hell with y'all. I'm going to be me, like it or not." True warrioress for sure.
Yeah, right. Like absolutely, like Xena. I mean, really, just a force.
Yeah, exactly. But there's another Irish band. I can't think of their name, but they also what the hell is that song called? Irish singers.
Did we lose you? I think
I don't know, Joe.
Okay.
It seemed like he was going to look at something and now he's gone. So I'm not sure.
Is he on a phone? Maybe when he
Yeah.
switches out on the phone,
In perpetuity.
There you go.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. All right. Well, we've got 3 minutes left. I'm not going to try and push another poem.
Okay.
I'd like to thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, JoJo, for calling in. Share your heart, your mind, your voices, most especially your time. Much love, poets, and wish everybody a wonderful day.
You too, Gray.
And to all my fellow Canadians, happy Victoria Day.
Oh,
I
happy
hope you
Victoria
enjoyed
Day.
your day
Yay.
off, everybody.
Yay.
Right on. Okay. Well, have a good night, JoJo. We'll take care.
Good night, Gray.
Bye. Thank you, Fill My Eyes. Night, T. Montano.